In this lesson, we will learn about exception handling. If an exception is not caught and handled where it occurs, control is immediately returned to the method that invoked the method that produced the exception. The propagation continues until the exception is caught and handled or until it is passed out of the main method, which terminates the program and produces the exception message. When an exception occurs, Java searches the ordered list of methods that had been called to get to the method where the error occurred. The list of methods is known as the call stack. The runtime system searches the call stack for a method that contains an exception handler for the given exception. The exception handler chosen is said to catch the exception. Let's do a few practices to understand the above theory on exception. In this practice 1 example, if the file is not found, the scanner class will throw file not found exception to the console, and the program stops there. Pause the video, code and test this example. In this practice 2 example, if the file is not found, the scanner class will throw file not found exception to the catch block, and the catch block will print file not found. If the file is found, nothing will be printed. Input mismatch exception is a type of runtime exception, and it is also an unchecked exception. In this practice 3 example, the main method will call the readFile method. In the readFile method, if the file is not found, the scanner class will throw file not found exception back to the readFile method in main. And the readFile method in main will throw the file not found exception to the console, and the program stops there. Pause the video, code and test this example. In this practice 4 example, the main method will call the readFile method. In the readFile method, if the file is not found, the scanner class will throw file not found exception to the catch block. And in the catch block, it will print file not found. Pause the video, code and test this example. In this practice 5 example, the main method will call the readFile method. In the readFile method, if the file is not found, the scanner class will throw file not found exception to the catch block. And in the catch block, it will print file not found. Pause the video, code and test this example. In this practice 6 example, the main method will call the readFile1 method, and readFile1 method will call readFile2 method. In the readFile2 method, if the file is not found, the scanner class will throw file not found exception back to readFile1 method, and be caught by the catch block. And in the catch block, it will print file not found. Pause the video, code and test this example. A try block can be followed by multiple catch blocks. The syntax for multiple catch blocks looks like the following. We can have any number of catch after a single try. When an exception occurs in the protected code, the exception is thrown to the first catch block in the list. If the data type of the exception thrown matches exception type 1, it gets caught there. If not, the exception passes down to the second catch statement. This continues until the exception either is caught or falls through all catches. If it falls through all catches, the current method stops execution and the exception is thrown down to the previous method on the call stack. Practice time. In this example, there are two exceptions to be caught. The two exceptions are file not found exception and number format exception. First, let's test the code without the test.txt file to throw file not found exception. Pause the video and code this example. Next, create a file test.txt with some text of non-integer to throw the number format exception. Pause the video and test this example. Now, modify the previous code to include the catch exception block. As exception is the superclass of all exceptions, this exception block will catch any form of exceptions. Next, create a file test.txt with the text 3 in the file to throw the array index out of bound exception. The array index out of bound exception will be caught by the last exception block. Pause the video and test this example. If we have multiple exception blocks, we need to ensure that the subclasses need to be caught first before the superclass. In this example, exception type 1 cannot be a parent class of exception type 2 and exception type 3. Similarly, exception type 2 cannot be a parent class of exception type 3. In this example, the exception is caught at the beginning. This catch exception block will catch all type of exceptions, including file not found exception and number format exception. Therefore, there is no chance for file not found and number format exception to be caught. And Java will signal an unreachable catch block syntax error. If we catch a checked exception, for example file not file exception, that exception must happen somewhere in the codes. If not, Java will signal an unreachable catch block syntax error. For unchecked exception, we can catch it even though it will never happen. Exception object provides a 3 method for troubleshooting during development. The 3 methods are getMessage, toString, and printStackTrace. GetMessage method returns a detailed message about the exception that has occurred. This message is initialized in the throwable constructor. toString method returns the name of the class, concatenated with the result of getMessage method. printStackTrace prints the result of toString method, along with the stack trace to system.error, the error output stream. Practice time. This example shows what is printed using the getMessage method. Pause the video and code this example. Practice time. This example shows what is printed using the toString method. Pause the video and code this example. Practice time. This example shows what is printed using the print stack trace method. Pause the video and code this example. During development, we will need to troubleshoot exception throwing mechanism. It is important to note that we only use the default system error messages during development. When the system is rolled out for production, we should not display those default system error messages. The user will not be able to understand those error messages. We should customize error messages and display only error messages that user can understand.